There was a fiery exchange between Representatives Cedric Richmond and Matt Gaetz on the issue of police reform. Now, Matt Gaetz was pretending that he was the real victim in this fiery debate, but it's important to note that this was all meant. It was a debate within the House Judiciary Committee meant to discuss and talk about what needs to be included in legislation to reform policing in the United States. Matt Gaetz and other conservatives want amendments that would lead to investigations of Antifa, even though there has been no evidence whatsoever that Antifa is involved in these protests or in any violence associated with the protests. In fact, there have been right-wing organizations like the Boogaloo Boys who have carried out acts of violence, including murdering a federal officer. But I want to play this video because I think it's so powerful, and it's also a giant eye roll moment for Matt Gaetz. Take a look.
I'm not interested in studying Antifa. I'm not even interested in studying the Klan or sovereign citizens right now, because that is not the imminent threat that black men face on a daily basis. And right now, too often, it is law enforcement, those who were sworn to protect and to serve. And so all we're asking today is to deal with that. I want it to be crystal clear, and I will give you the benefit of the doubt that it is an unconscious bias that I'm hearing, because at worst it's conscious bias, and that I would hate to assume from any of the people on the other side.
Will the gentleman yield?
Sure.
I appreciate your passion. Are you suggesting that you're certain that none of us have non-white children? Because you reflected on your black son and you said none of us could understand.
Matt, stop. I'm not about to get sidetracked about the color of our children. We're talking about black kids. I reclaimed my time.
You said that
I reclaimed my time. I know.
You want the discussion?
I know that
gentleman reclaimed his time.
I said I reclaimed my time. I already know that there are people on the other side that have black grandchildren. It is not about the color of your kids. It is about black males, black people in the streets that are getting killed. And if one of them happens to be your kid, I'm concerned about him too. And clearly I'm more concerned about him than you are. So let's be clear about that.
You're claiming you're more concerned for my family than I do? Who in the hell do you think you are?
Gentlemen,
if the shoe fits.
You don't know how much we care about our families.
Kick dog holler.
You should take those words down. I care about your family and love your family.
The gentleman will suspend. The gentleman will suspend. The time belongs to the gentleman from Louisiana.
Cedric, would you yield?
Was that a nerve?
Yeah.
The thing that gets to me about that video is just like the insincerity and the disingenuous nature of what Matt Gaetz is doing. Like I know that like he's acting, right? Like, and I hate when the right wing does, I hate when anyone does this. When they will take a situation, a serious problem in the country that needs to be resolved and addressed, and they'll somehow twist it in a way to make it appear as though they're the victims. The ones who have been supportive of that horrible system from the beginning will turn around and be like, I am the victim here. And I'll tell you why. It turns out Matt Gaetz has an adopted son that we didn't know anything about until today. I'll give you the details on that, but Cenk, jump in.
Yeah, that was one of the best things I've seen in Congress. So Cedric Richmond, thank you. And look, all day long they try to distract. Oh, how about the autonomous zone in Seattle? How about Antifa? How about a bunny rabbit? How about Easter? Whatever, right? So, and Richmond's like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about protecting African American people, and we're trying to resolve that by actually getting something done. And so Gaetz, he's got this little ace in the hole. He thinks he's like, I adopted a kid like when he was like 28. And he's not black, but you'll see he's not perfectly white. Oh, I can't wait to unleash this. I'm gonna do it on Twitter later. Oh, Cedric, what about me, huh? What about me and my non-white kid? Then protect your non-white kid instead of fighting to make sure that minorities in this country continue to be abused. So he's such a pathetic attention whore. Matt Gaetz. And I love that Cedric Richmond slapped him down verbally.
So later, as you mentioned, Cenk, Matt Gaetz did share some information about his son, who he adopted from Cuba. His name is Nestor, and again, we haven't heard about Nestor until today. So he shared this specific photo on Twitter, and I was like, oh, okay, I want to learn more about Nestor. They look like they're literally the same age, but they're 17 years apart. Matt Gaetz is 38, Nestor is 19. And here's what Gaetz had to say about him. For all those wondering, this is my son, Nestor. We share no blood, but he is my life. He came from Cuba, legally of course, 6 years ago and lives with me in Florida. I'm so proud of him, and raising him has been the best, most rewarding thing I've done in my life. So he allegedly adopted Nestor when he was 12. He also writes, Nestor turned 19 a few days ago and will be off to university. He arrived here at 12. As you can imagine, I was triggered when, to make an absurd debate point, a fellow congressman diminished the contributions of Republicans because we don't raise non-white kids. Well, I have. Okay, I know that picture, it's hard to tell in that picture. If he's adopted from Cuba, there are white Cubans. Like there are white Cubans, there are Afro-Cubans, and I've looked at other pictures of him, and you guys should look into it. There are other pictures of him, and I don't know. We're having a conversation about black people getting gunned down and choked out and murdered on our streets. And Matt Gaetz is bringing up this case involving a Cuban person that he adopted when he was 12 years old, just to make him out to be the victim in this case, to make Matt Gaetz out to be the one who's aggrieved and the one who needs to be apologized to. It's just sick. It's just totally sick.
Yeah, I actually, a couple more things there. First of all, he's like, oh, he came legally from Cuba. Well, people from Cuba have amnesty. So if we applied the same the same standard to people coming in from Mexico, then they would all be coming legally. So your argument makes no sense on that front. Second of all, there's a newspaper article that shows Matt Gaetz calling this same kid a student. Not his son, but a student 4 years ago. So wait, was he a rando student or was he your son? And when exactly, he came at 12, when exactly did you adopt him? Before his 29th birthday or after his 29th birthday? Now, look, I know that he's theoretically 19, and I guess he adopted him at some point. He's not married. I mean, maybe they have a wonderful, loving relationship, and Gaetz's sister has put up a bunch of pictures of this kid with the family. And so, but between him and Laura Ingraham, they look like they're using human props for political reasons.
And that's the problem. So if he truly adopted this guy and they have a loving, close relationship, all the power to them. Like, that's not where the criticism is coming from. The criticism is using people as props, which is what it feels like happened during this exchange. And I also wanna just read a tweet that I shared by Tia Mitchell. She's a reporter, and she tweeted the following. I first heard of Nestor when I wrote an article in 2015 about Gaetz. He had ridiculed black lawmakers and was accused of racism. A GOP operative called and said, Gaetz was hurt partially because his girlfriend and her son were people of color.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.